Hello, welcome to today's webinar, how to successfully incorporate campaign updates to your marketing strategy. Joined here by Khalil Doheny, our senior content marketing manager, oversees the department. We're going to be able to talk full content marketing today using the portal updates as an anchor. If you're hearing this and thinking, what's a portal update? We're going to go in full depth. A portal refers to an equity crowdfunding campaign as acknowledged by the SEC, hosting issuer campaigns, connecting issuers and investors. This can also be used for campaign updates as a whole. So even with issuers that we worked on the equity crowdfunding, as we're then starting to work on milestones for other initiatives they may have at times, campaign updates can be instrumental there as well. Khalil, before we fully get into introductions on yourself, why is this important? Why is today's webinar such a big milestone in our educational library?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, investors want to stay updated. They invested for a reason. They believe in the mission. They believe in the cause. They want to know what is happening within, your company. They want to stay updated. They want to know, are there any new hires happening? Are there any development updates within your product? What milestones are you hitting? And what's even great about these portal updates, they live even after the campaign is over. You can still update your investors post-campaign. So this is going to be a great topic. I'm really excited to be here with Jason today to dive deep into these portal updates and how you can incorporate into your market strategy. And yeah, I'm just ready to get it started.
Absolutely. And just giving a little bit of background, Khalil, I know you've been with us for a couple of years now. Yeah. You want to give your background on how many campaigns you've worked on, the background for a lot of today's ideas, the experience and insights we're going to be sharing?
Yeah, of course. So I've been with DNA. It'll be 2 years in August. So it's coming up. It's crazy how time flies. I feel like I was just here. I signed with DNA in August 2020. So it was the peak of the pandemic. So that's kind of where the remote work kind of started over there for me. But yeah, with these portal updates, when I first signed with DNA, we didn't do portal updates. We didn't know how effective they were until, we saw clients doing them more and more. And we were like, all right, maybe this is something we should incorporate. Let's take a look at them. And, we started with one campaign. We did a couple of campaign updates for those campaigns. We saw that they were becoming effective. So we started incorporating more into our strategy. And now it's a daily routine for all of our campaigns.
Exactly. We were more focused on the advertising side early on as our content marketing started taking on more of the roles that a campaign manager, marketing director, the founder would be doing to make these things really work. We began offering more and more content deliverables, and specifically around this, I've been working on these campaigns for Reg D since 2014, Reg CF right out of the gate in May 2016. To date, we've worked on over 300 investor marketing campaigns that have collectively raised 9 figures of capital. We look at it as a duty to share these insights on educational platforms such as this, and have the opportunity to do it in person today, in our Wednesday in office day of our hybrid model. Really started the webinar series once the remote 2020 ecosystem had become the standard. So the majority of ours are digital, if you've been tuning into each. So again, what is a portal update? They're a key component because everything really needs to be listed on the offering page. There is some non-term type information that could be featured in advertisements and content. We're going to get into compliance a bit further, not as compliant experts, but as marketers, and pointing to some of the boundaries that we see visible. However, it's very clear that there should be no information that some investors get and others do not. Equity crowdfunding is a vehicle to democratize the ability to invest in early stage organizations. Your publicly promoting these private investment opportunities, and the government, the SEC, does not want these investors knowing more than those, and these investors getting different terms than those. Different insights, secrets, trade tips, anything like that is not allowed. It needs to all be on the offering page. At the bottom of the offering page, after learning about the team, the product, after learning about everything that is in the filing, there is a section for campaign updates where you're essentially adding to the offering page. So this is where you want to showcase the momentum. We've talked a lot about in past content that momentum is investable. It is why the top campaigns are where they're at. And what we're seeing in the market, good or bad right now, is the top campaigns are getting all of the investors. The bottom half of the campaigns are receiving very little per month in terms of investments. So looking at King's Crowd, looks at the bottom half's under $10,000 of investments for the month of June, and coming to an end here. So what we're seeing is the campaigns with the most momentum, the most excitement are attracting the most investors. The campaign updates, the portal updates, is where you can talk about everything that your company, your organization is accomplishing. We're going to get into some examples there, and it should really reflect the updates you have with an investor offline. But you were able to broadcast it across thousands of prospects.
Yeah, and to add on to that, yes, these portal updates are for your current investors, but they're also for your potential investors or someone who is doing their due diligence in your company and want to learn more and want to see what is this company doing, what steps are they taking to get to that next level, to get to that next milestone. They want to do their due diligence before committing. So these portal updates, it's a great way to do that. And yeah, that's what potential investors are looking for.
Yeah, the prospective investors have the ability to follow on many of these portals, then receive updates. Some of the portals send out emails and all different types of notifications so that they're notified, hey, a new piece of content, a new addition has been added to this offering page, all showing why this is such an important vehicle. So what are some of the things that issuers, founders should talk about in their updates?
Yeah, so there's a variety of things. And what I like about portal updates is you can display your milestone, you can display the new hires within the company, development of your product. It's what's great about, especially the development of your product. Sometimes you come into these campaigns with the product being at its infant stages, and then you can see its growth time over time with these portal updates. And it's a great feeling to be there from the beginning and seeing it, how it plays out to the end.
Absolutely. You're able to see new partnerships, media mentions, new milestones reached, new team members added, perhaps new clientele or distribution groups that are involved. And really some of the things that are talked about in the offering page coming to life.
Exactly. And press mentions, especially, say that you got featured in Forbes or in Yahoo Finance. That is all content that your investors want to see. It shows that third-party validation. It shows progress. It shows that the company is doing what it takes to, be out there and in the news and putting their product out there even more.
Absolutely. And we'll get questions from our clients, working with over 50 groups, founders, marketers will ask us, what should we talk about in our updates? That all sounds great, Khalil, Jason, but we don't have that. So we then look at a content calendar to create it, and should probably take this all back a step. And we're going to talk about campaign progress and milestones, as you can see in the screen. This starts at a campaign calendar.
Correct.
We don't just wake up on Wednesday and say, hey, let's do a portal update by end of day. There happens to be a new partnership. It really doesn't even start at the campaign calendar stage. It begins in the strategy. So we recommend issuers to put together a marketing plan for their campaign. You fail to plan, you're kind of planning to fail. And this is shown in statistics across the industry for how many groups plan, the type of results that they're seeing. Put together a marketing plan. You can look at our webinars. Khalil's put out articles, checklists on what to do for putting together your strategy. We use a system called the 8-point plan. It generally takes a month for us to put together, and we work on a lot of these campaigns. I give yourself at least a month to do it. Inside there, you're going to want to map out what competitors have done, what they're doing right now, more importantly, in real time, with channels, messaging, what's really driving for them. More importantly, you're going to want to build out your campaign infrastructure with your audiences, your channels, your creative. With that, put it into a campaign calendar and map out where it's going to go. You're launching August 1st. What do the announcements look like? Compliantly, once the campaign's live, once you're able to promote, what is week 2, week 3, month 2, week 7, week 8, month 3, closing messaging for a lot of these portals. Is an extension going to occur? And I even want to determine what that breakout of the road path would look like, so that you're doing this all intentionally and you're taking the prospective investors and completing 10 to 30% of those participate multiple times, or can share to their friends, their family, their first 3 connections. But what presentation are you walking them down throughout the course of months? It's 7 touch points or more from our experience before they invest. So what are we taking them down? And that's what the portal conversation discussions look like.
Yeah, and we can definitely plan as much as we can to be ahead with these portal updates. We can be ahead with the milestones. We can have that prepared, ready to go. But there's also things that just come up out of nowhere. It can be a press mention that just happens, from a partnership that just came about. And that's why it's very important to be communicative with whoever is creating these portal updates with you, to make sure they know that information, because all that is great information to showcase in your campaign. So it's you gotta be communicative. There's times where we've had clients that haven't told us what they're working on, and and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line, they just randomly mentioned that they were in Forbes. So we would like to know that information so we can create a portal update and post it on your campaign.
Mm-hmm. And we've coordinated with clients to do press releases. We've coordinated with clients to do paid press placements. There's all different types of sponsored content and native opportunities to do so. Furthermore, if there's any signal from publishers that you may be covered at some point in the next month, again, we could pencil that in somewhere. But to hear about it day of, whether you're working with an agency, doing it internally, putting pressure on your marketing team, or even on yourself to get it out there, a little backwards. You want to make sure it's already set up and fits into a general agenda of where the content's going to go over time.
Exactly.
And you're playing for success. You're playing for hitting these milestones at different periods of time. If the actual timelines change up a bit, okay, and you can move contents to different pieces, but you don't want to hold off to that. I mean, we build social content, email content with different milestones reached at the beginning of the campaign. So we're focusing more on distribution and what's going to happen with the content once it's actually time to roll out.
Exactly. And with your campaign, yes, it's going to showcase your closing date. But the reason why we like to mention or create urgency content for the portal updates is because they, sometimes your clients, or sometimes the client is not actively looking through the portal page. So once we have that portal set and created, the platform is going to send an email of that portal update. So they are going to be getting it one way or another.
And it's helpful to drum up support.
Yeah.
Show progress, as the page says here. So there are suggestions on how often to post an update, what to post an update around. The milestones are easy. So, launch announcement, campaign progress, 25%, 50%, 75%. A lot of the times this mirrors when the portals promote you. So 100K, 250, 500, 750 million. This varies platform to platform. And even if you're listening to this and saying, hey, I'm running the campaign on my own site.
Yeah.
I'm using Core Connects, I'm using Dealmaker, I'm using Fund America, I'm using a broker dealer. I'm using Dalmore Realtor Markets, I'm using a variety of groups. This is on my own site. You still want to implement campaign updates directly onto your offering page, and you still want to look towards these similar milestones of what other groups are using. You're essentially acting as your own portal, having on your site. So you want to have some type of meaningful structure around that. If it's every $50,000 you raise, you're making confetti fall from the corners of the site, it's going to lose its appeal at some point. It's going to lose its effect. So it's still important to implement this into what you're doing. The duration of the campaign milestones, 1 week, 1 month. I've seen portals say, hey, let's do every 2 weeks. We've made a point to do weekly with our clients. We've had clients recommend 3 times a week.
2 or 3 times, yeah.
Request, and again, have to have a campaign calendar. So we're taking them through a curated demonstration of what the brand's doing versus trying to come up with something new or being repetitive. But weekly will get you there. Monthly at the bare minimum, I really would point more towards weekly or every other week. And if you have the traction to showcase, if there's enough going on and you want to do more than 1 a week, you could. Yeah. There's different theories towards how much attention you're getting towards each post and potential dilution of that if you're doing it too often, though.
Exactly. Definitely, like Jason said, I think the minimum should be 1 week. It's, there should always be something to talk about. There should always be progress within your company. There should always be that next milestone. What are you working on? What partnerships have you worked with this past week? All that is great content, and definitely, once a week, once a month, like Jason said, it's a little bit of a stretch, but ideally you want to do it once a week.
Mm-hmm. Some of the portals will choose what they're covering in their email newsletter or related marketing content based on what's occurring on the campaign, on the portal updates, by the way. So they have to treat each issuer the same. Mm-hmm. They have these milestones accordingly and do promotions to their entire audience, category specific audiences. Each one handles it a bit differently. But when these are reached, same process for each issuer. Again, democratizing these investment opportunities, not showing favoritism or anything along those lines. One thing they offer, though, is we're going to pick from the campaign updates. Yeah. The most impactful updates we will feature in our newsletter. So it's a way to get more attention. Yeah. It's a way to get more awareness, more impressions, as we say in digital, and essentially more traffic.
Yeah. And we've seen with our past clients who do get promoted, on these platforms, we've seen an uptick in their investments.
Yes.
So I think, it's a great opportunity, and, every portal update should be treated as that potential feature on the issuer's, platform. So, and we'll go into a little more detail about it in a bit, but, make sure there's a great call to action, make sure that the images are perfect, and, the wording is a good amount. You don't want it to be too long of a portal update, and you also don't want it to be too short of a portal update. You want that sweet spot right in the middle.
Yeah, and you're talking about performance. There's nothing better than being able to track a portal update to correlated investments, correlated investment amounts, as you mentioned, portal emails, and the investments to follow in the next 24 hours. It's a lot more straightforward in the advertising analytics. Mm-hmm. There is some level of piecing Google Analytics and other types of perspectives to the storyline of what investments came from where in, let's say, a 24-hour period, particularly if there's various traffic sources occurring. But it is very notable, applauded by the clients, by the issuers, and something you want to be playing for on your campaigns. So make these as impactful as possible, come up with the storyline beforehand. And it's, of course, what all issuers are actually out there playing for. They come to us for marketing, but for marketing as a way of obtaining these investments. And content usually nurtures the traffic sources, gets you a higher conversion rate, but can actually be a driver in these contexts.
Yeah, and I was going to say the same exact thing. We do a lot of times our clients, will be like, all right, I just want to do ads. Don't want to do content marketing, ads, just pay to play essentially. But what clients forget about is the whole purpose of the content is to create surround sound for those ads, because there is a call to action on the ads, which is, invest now. They're going to click that invest now button. They're going to go onto the raise page, and if you're not doing portal updates, you're going to go to just a regular raise page, no updates, nothing. But then you go to, so you can compare the two with a raise page with portal updates and a raise page with no portal updates, and you can see what the difference is there.
Absolutely. And we were talking about the difference from portals and launching on your own site earlier. Being on a portal, one of the downsides, there are many other issuers on that same portal. In fact, you may drive your first degree connections over to the portal, and they may end up investing in other deals on said portal for the reason Khalil just said.
Yeah.
You get there, another deal looks more exciting.
Exactly.
And the portal updates are showing all this momentum. Maybe there's multiple visits to the portal to the portal site as a whole, and every time that investor gets there, that campaign's jumped noticeably in investment volume. And you want to make sure, even if you're on your own site, that your campaign competes with these others. It passes the glance test and looks as, if not more appealing than something that is on a portal. There are pluses and minuses to both sides, but you should be doing your competitor marketing audits before stepping into these campaigns. You should be building your strategy accordingly, and you should keep a pulse on it all the way through your campaign. There are learnings, success leads, clues for what you can then try to adapt into your own campaign. And again, your investors are likely seeing advertisements or other pieces of content for these other issuer campaigns. So make sure, once they get to your page, it stands the test. It is able to compete in a variety of ways.
Yeah, and what Jason mentioned also was, sometimes we'll have, there will be issuers who are running on their own website, on their own landing page. Just because you're running on your own website, you can't forget about portal updates. You gotta have a section on your landing page or on your website that is showcasing those portal updates. And a lot of times clients will mix that up with blogs. They're two different things. Blogs are just, thought leadership, can showcase some type of updates, but you want to have a section on your website that's just focused on the portal updates.
Exactly. Could talk about blogs so much further as well. I mean, blogs give you SEO value. The words are showing up on search engines based on how your site is optimized to rank on those, and having this type of long form content on your portal update, on your portal page, can have an SEO impact on your offering page and over time. So let's say it's a Reg A Plus campaign. We just spoke at the Reg A conference 2 weeks ago. Those initiatives are usually 12 months, 6 months to 12 months, perhaps. Many are set up to raise tens of millions, upwards of $75 million. So you can have real SEO value, SEO equity in 6 to 12 months sooner. So the same utilities a blog has for your site, your campaign, your portal update have for these initiatives. Beyond just SEO, the ability to take snippets, to splinter into social, to talk about on email, to use as a tool to get third parties talking about you. I see social posts on portal updates from investors talking about their new portfolio company and what's occurring there. All of the great things that blogs have been used for historically in digital marketing and are still a top marketing channel today for are true for portal updates. And the campaign coming to a close, we went from milestones, the closing note and thank you. These are all other things that you can talk about in your portal updates.
Yeah, and you do have some to say. There shouldn't be a reason why you don't have a portal update going out on a week-to-week basis. As Jason just mentioned with the blogs, that alone is a portal update. You can say that you have a blog on your website and you wanted to showcase it to your investors or your potential investors. You do a little quick recap of what the blog states, and then you drop the link to the blog. You're doing a podcast, same thing. You drop a link of the podcast in the campaign update. So there is always something to say in your portal updates. So if you need any tips or ideas, reach out to me and I'll tell you everything that you can post on your campaign updates.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll have some examples on here. We post examples from issuers that we work with, case studies, podcast episodes with founders. Take a look at those campaigns. Take a look at the top campaigns on Start Engine, on WeFunder, on Republic. Looked at as 3 of the top CF platforms by volume. There are a list of other portals that are now fighting for those number 3 to 5 spots, even higher on a weekly basis on King's Crowd. King's Crowd gives you all the analytics. It'll show you every one of the 500 some odd live Reg CF campaigns right now. It'll show you Reg 8 Plus campaigns that are on those portals and various broker-dealer platforms. So use those marketing audits. Look at their portal updates for inspiration. Build a calendar. Don't figure it out week to week as much as have it mapped out for what's going to occur month 2, week 3, as an example. Yep. And it's a great promotional tool for your next pieces of content, such as webinars, right?
Yep, exactly. So we're not on a portal, but we used an email. We use email. We use social. We use ads to promote this webinar, and just like that, you can use portal updates to promote it. With our clients, we do webinars on a monthly basis, and we do 3 weeks. 3 types of promotion. We do 1 2 weeks out, a week out, and a day before. And each of those promotions are on the the client's portal and their campaign. So the investors will know when there's a webinar coming up. The investors they'll know when to tune in. So having all this promotion on your campaign is a great tool to get more eyes on your webinars or whatever event that you're attending.
Exactly. And content really all comes together. Each channel goes hand in hand. So our programs and recommendations are around email marketing, social media marketing, and long form content with portal updates included in there on top of webinars, articles, video articles. We call them blogs and vlogs. If one team member calls them vlogs, and publisher outreach can then occur around each of these channels, media channels at that. So if you're reaching out to a publisher, whether it's a financial publisher, such as an email newsletter, whether it is a top tier publisher, Entrepreneur, Forbes, Inc., it can be a blog. If you're pointing at all of this activity that is occurring and the responses and the momentum, your brand, yourself as a thought leader, you're going to see it reflected in their response. Where if they get to your portal update, if they get to your portal offering page and there's no new activity and you've been live for a few months, if they then do their due diligence, they do a Google search, there's nothing coming up. No social updates, no emails, no articles, no videos. You haven't spoken at conferences recently. They see 1 or 2 listings on a Google search, and then it's other brands and people with your name. It's a red flag. They look to move away from it in many different situations. So you want them to get to a list of search activity, all featuring yourself, your brand, talking about the investment opportunity. You're going to be in a much better place. That social proof, that third-party validation is what the internet is built on.
Yeah. And I mentioned this in the last webinar. I was with Jason. I said, social media and content in general is the modern day search engine. When you're searching on Yelp, looking for a pizza parlor to eat at, are you going to go to the one with the 1 star, or are you going to go to the one with 3 to 4 stars? So it depends when you're searching and what comes up and what doesn't come up. So, investors and potential investors are doing their due diligence. They want to know the type of content you're putting out. They want to see you putting content in general. So post portal updates, post social, send out emails. They all work hand to hand.
Exactly. And to the audience, it's just, I'm seeing this brand everywhere type of feeling. It is not, oh, wow, their marketing stack includes these channels as well. It just feels like people are talking about you, even with your own self-publishing channels. A lot of the times, the prospective audiences can't even recall the brand name, but there's a familiarity when they see it. So you want to add more depth, you want to add more details. This allows that to occur. Investors are going to do their due diligence before participating. They're not going to look at your deal and pull out their checkbook. It is going to be more in the follow-up process, and the portal updates serving as part of that follow-up.
Exactly.
So just getting back to the document here, and we of course will make this available for anyone who emails us, LinkedIn message us, whatever it may be, ask us for a copy of this. There will also be a video distributed. You're able to see some different examples in here. Khalil, what is this campaign that we're looking at?
Yeah, so this is Veer. We worked with them, earlier this year. We got them. Well, we helped them get to close to 900, almost to the million actually. And so over here we had them. They were featured on Benzinga. So it's a news article, and this is what we talked about. The news feature is, it's always, it shows excitement that you're working with that third-party validation, and it's especially the news outlets. We want to post about it. We want to showcase what the client is up to. What does that third-party validation look like?
Exactly. So I like that example you gave earlier, where a prospective investor is looking at 2 offering pages, and this shows up on one of them.
Yep.
The other has nothing. Maybe a week into the campaign, they said we're live. This campaign shows we were featured on Benzinga. Are you going to go with the Benzinga group, or are you going to go with the one that seems like less people know about them? You again can have some of this pre-planned and released systematically throughout the campaign. Week 2 is we're featuring. Week 3, week 4, third-party validation, social proof. People believe more what Benzinga is saying than, in this example, what Veer is saying. And that's why this was so impactful for Veer and their campaign.
And what this feature is telling me, it's not telling me that they were featured on Benzinga. It was telling me that Veer is doing what it takes to be out there and have people's eyes on the brand. And like we mentioned, comparing the 2 campaigns, one that is posting portal updates and one that's not really posting portal updates. The one that's posting portal updates is doing whatever it takes to get to their milestones, to get to their raise goals. So this is a perfect example of a client doing that. So they want to do what it takes. They want to have their eyes on the content. They want to have their eyes on Veer in general. So yeah, get out there and have your company featured.
And there are programs to be featured by these publishers. We talked a bit about sponsored content. Talk to your portal. They likely have some inroads on groups that want to feature issuers on their portal. Talk to your agency. There's likely some intros that can be made, with no guarantees, of course, at all across any of these routes. It's all about how it fits into their initiatives for the month, for what they're doing for their editorial calendar. It is a numbers game, in my experience, even when looking at paid programs, paid placements. You want to have enough seeds to see some of the sprouts actually develop to be able to talk on the portal updates. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. But news features are great. Team updates are great. What were we doing here?
Yeah. So this is another example from Veer. So the team updates, it's, you want to highlight the team. You want to know who are you investing in? Investors invest in people. And so, we want to showcase the different, people, the different positions they're in and how they're participating, how they're incorporated into the company. So yeah, you want to show them, kind of give them that behind the scenes look, as we mentioned here. And, it's a great way to establish that welcoming environment.
I read a lot of analytic reports for our own campaigns and also industry research. And I've been studying since 2012 about the use of an individual and their face in an advertising creative, in a piece of content, portal update included in that, and lifts in performance, engagement, click-through rates to follow. This personifies, if you cover the bottom half of the image and just look at the logo of the brand, perhaps the headline of spotlighting, it doesn't do the same thing as if you perhaps just looked at the bottom part of the image. You feel like you can relate with Sean. You may know somebody that Kelly reminds you of. You can understand the talent that Daniel or Katrina have. It allows you to feel like you understand the team.
Exactly. And it adds that sense of personality behind the brand too. What type of brand is this? Is this, and you want, sometimes you're investing in companies that you relate to. Mm-hmm. And that all stems with the team. Do you relate to the team? Can you see what their values are? You want to have that, you want to build that sense of connection. So highlighting that team update can really showcase that and give that little push that potential investor needed to invest in the company.
Relatedness, trust, and overall a stronger sense of confidence.
Yep.
That these individuals are going to take this company to its milestones. Yep. That's what you want to accomplish with a team update. And you're absolutely right, Khalil. People invest in people. Investors, particularly in private equity, mm-hmm. There's a lot of different places they could place their funds outside of private equity or even within. Yeah. They're investing in organizations at this stage on these vehicles, such as equity crowdfunding portals, because they invest in people. They want to be part of the team. Investor studies have shown they want to be part of a high growth industry. They want to find the right team with the right product that's going to disrupt, that's going to take on market share. And this is where that occurs. Mm-hmm. And being able to tap into backgrounds, history, career successes, exits, strategic partnerships that team members have. Talk about instilling confidence. It almost feels concrete in some of these situations.
Exactly. And yeah, you kind of nailed it right there on the coffin. That the background, the history, what their education is like, all of that comes together to build that brand. So and if you have depends, it's a well-oiled machine. So you need each part to work properly for the company to work together.
Mm-hmm. It's all about team. I'm a big believer in that. We put a lot of emphasis to team in-house here. Far more is possible. Mm-hmm. The greatest achievements, you can look at the teams around it. Even in individual aspects like professional sports, they'll still point at their team. It's what is around the driving forces of these entities. And I hear it reflected, repeated in the investors' voices and narratives as well. They just brought on the CMO of this app that is publicly traded and massive. They've had these exits in this industry. They're now trying to have impact here with this fusion. The team can really command the numbers that are in the valuation in a very realistic fashion. It can inspire others to get involved that may not have even been looking at the deal.
Yep.
Company awards, milestones. Can you share some experiences that you've seen, some experiences you've had around company awards and milestones?
Yeah. So, you can do the easy milestones that are the first 100K, and then the 200, 300. And one of the graded milestones that you can show is, hitting your goal. So highlighting those milestones from 100K to 200 and so on will show progress and show progression, saying, oh, there's actually momentum happening. There's something going on. There's something, worthy, like in that company that, that investors are investing in to get to that next milestone. And company awards, we've, right here for Zirconia, they highlighted one of these awards that they won. And, it's highlighting their product, their technology. So it's great to see that what they're working on is being recognized by different organizations and different awards.
Exactly. And to win awards, you have to apply for awards.
Exactly.
There are registration fees. There's even pay to play type of award formats. We don't recommend those, but you can apply and set yourself up to win awards based on what you're doing. So, that comes down to the right research, get your team on Google, start looking at some different organizations that are giving awards, so on and so forth. Apply for those. It is a numbers game. You may not win any, you may win a small percentage, you may get presented with rate cards and things that seem inorganic, unauthentic, that you simply don't want to participate in. So make sure there's enough volume in what you're looking at. And then getting to milestones, everyone has milestones. Mm-hmm. So you have to have your units of measurement, of course. So, speaking to the agency world, maybe it's the volume of clients. Maybe it's revenue reached, maybe it's team growth. How many employees? I know a lot of agencies that post how many team members they're at and on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So you want to have those units of measurements established for your organization, like already lives in your business plan, in your projections, in your offering page. And once those are reached, make sure to set that up here. Do not make it seem like your company is on pause until you get this investment. Yep. Do not make it appear that your organization will not survive if this round does not complete. Really put yourself in the shoes of the investor. Mm-hmm. You want to make sure that your company is looked at as a moving ship, a moving train. It's going to its destination. It's hitting its next milestones with or without the investors. This is an opportunity for them to invest alongside you, to put capital in and to be part of the organization and perhaps get there quicker. But you are hitting your goals one way or the other. And if you look at the successful campaigns and the traits of those founders, this is a quality across nearly all of them. The portals say it. We see it across our client base. Take a look at our case studies. Look at the founders that are on there. We give them all of the credit. We're working on their behalf with the energy that they put forth, and being featured at this trade show one day and this publisher the next, this partnership the week afterwards. It gives us a lot of resources, a lot of things to use across the campaigns to point out. We're nearly an agency working on their behalf. And I recommend for founders to take that same approach. And this is where you can have this living. Again, as soon as I hear, hey, we have no updates, there's a lack of this discussion happening internally at their offices is what comes to mind for me. And if it's in my lens, it's surely in the investors when they get to a campaign and there's nothing new. They get to touch point 7 and it feels the same as the first time they were there.
And one thing that I really liked what you said, Jason, was one way or another, they're going to hit their their milestone. So, with these portal updates, you really want to build that FOMO. You want to build that fear of missing out, and, not say, oh, we're almost there, we need your help. Say, invest now, invest before it's too late. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Really create that urgency and that FOMO and that excitement and why I should invest in this company. That's going to build the traction. It's going to be like, we have these awards, you could see that this is moving. Invest now. This is the time to get in.
Exactly. And I try to think of it as the classic equity crowdfunding example. What if you invested in Facebook in 2005? Exactly. That's what this vehicle makes available. Can you imagine if you were friends with that founding team and you were not presented the investor opportunity and it was available to retail investors? You could participate for $100, for $500, and knowing the exponential growth they had and what that would have done for your own finances. That's how I feel when I speak to founders, and they have not really emphasized this to their first degree networks. If you become a unicorn, multi-billion-dollar company, if you hit $100 million valuations or higher, and you go back to people and they had the opportunity to invest when you were at a $10 million valuation, $20 million valuation, a $5 million valuation. We see all these ranges on Reg CF campaigns. It could feel like they were not presented the opportunity, that you withheld in that fashion. When I see founders that are getting this in front of everyone they know, hey, you have the opportunity to invest. Maybe not, once in a lifetime opportunity, but I could tell you Facebook was, and these other organizations have been. So it could very well be. There's going to be something occurring there. Really look at this from that light of this is their chance. This is where we're going. They could put in $1,000 and it's going to turn into 10. They could put in far more. You become a unicorn, that $1,000 could become $100,000, it could become $1 million. So do not withhold from anybody. Use the portal updates as a place to show all of this momentum, all of this traction, and you'll see it reflected in the conversion rates. We're really trying to make these points because you wouldn't believe how many issuers ignore it. You wouldn't believe how many issuers say, all of that's great. I just want results. Yeah. I just want investments. Get me a 10x on my ad spend tomorrow. Meanwhile, ads are not converting. Mm-hmm. For us to improve the performance of a traffic source, we look at the audiences, we look at the messaging, we look at the funnel. This is part of the funnel. What lives here is what we're talking about, the messaging, the audiences that we're driving in. In many cases for us are historical equity crowdfunding investors, but can be coming from all different places, especially your first degree connections. And this all plays a role in the conversion rate.
Yep. And to add on to that, marketing, yes, it's great for your campaign. It's going to help get eyes on your campaign. But marketing is just an extension of what the founder is doing, of what their team is doing. When we see campaigns that aren't doing too well, we're really questioning, like, what is the founder or the CEO doing on their own to really get their campaign out there? Because we are, running ads, we are running social content, we're running these webinars, but what else are you doing? Don't just rely on the marketing. If you are passionate about your company and about your business and want to see it succeed, you'll do whatever it takes to get there. You'll go on podcasts, you will be featured in magazines, speak at events. Those are all things that you should be doing and highlighting in your portal updates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've heard from investors that if there's not enough activity, it feels stagnant, and they use that as a representation for what the company is.
Exactly.
Where I like to think of examples of if I created a hoverboard, a flying skateboard, I would tell everyone I knew. Mm-hmm. I would have an update every day somewhere, probably on social media, then using the portal updates weekly at a minimum, but to talk about all the new partnerships, all the new conversations. I literally want every media publisher, every potential brand partnership, every potential retail, whatever it is, outlet to be aware of this. So this is your chance to share. And with everything going on, you will see more people interested and attracted as a best practice, as an industry outlook, to really follow the audiences through on these portal updates. Make sure it's not just a blog article, and include a call to action. Think about what you would like to accomplish with that specific post, and then make sure there's an easy way for the reader to take action. Click here. You like to include links?
I have links everywhere throughout the whole document. You want to have links going back to the raise page, going back to the client's website, have those embedded links. And like we mentioned before, create that FOMO. Make sure, like we have here as the example, make sure to invest while there's still time. Share this with your friends, network, family. If you have not finished your investments, make sure to do so. It's having that strong call to action will go a long way, because it's, it's budging them like, oh, wow, like I actually got to do this now before it's too late. So yeah, have a strong call to action, and, make it very clear what the point of this portal update is about.
Sure. Because they can invest at the share price for the entirety of the round. So why do they need to invest week 3 versus the end of month 3 with the closing? You want to create that immediacy, not wait till the final week of month 3 to see all the audiences that have been attracted to your campaign, then coming to the table at the end. It's not a good feeling as a founder. It's not a good feeling as an agency. What if there's a major news event that last week?
Yeah.
We saw it affect closing dates for some campaigns around stock market events, war, pandemic. If there's other news attention, if there's things that could create concern or fear, and you're waiting till the end, it could create an issue. We've seen groups do perks that are time sensitive. There's a lot of things to set up, but you want that messaging out there. Make sure to invest while there's still time. It all comes down to social sharing when we speak content marketing. It's the goal of good content. And share this with your friends. A percentage of the audience will share with their friends if compelled. If you have not finished your investment, make sure to do so. I've seen founders doing this on video messages, and again, really resonating with the audience.
Exactly.
Showing the human side for everything that they're doing.
Yeah. And this is a great topic right here. You want to encourage people to share your campaign page. Sometimes laying out the language that an existing investor can share with their own community is helpful. Not everyone has access to the client's campaign page. So sharing that page with your network will open the doors to different eyes on that campaign.
And remind them your success is their success, so that if they are already investors, encourage them to reach out to their own network. We'll see 20% to 50% of investors come from paid traffic sources on our successful case studies. What that tells me is, as an investor converts from a advertising campaign, influencer campaign, email campaign, the audiences that are watching the campaign, whether it's on the portal or other organic audiences, perform at a higher level. Again, that momentum is investable. Also, the investors who come in are sharing with their first degree connections, and that there's a lift occurring. So allow them to identify with this company and share the investment opportunity.
Exactly.
Additional pro tips: make it personal.
Yeah, make it personal, make it relatable. If something out there that a current event is happening, and you have a product that potentially could assist with what's happening out in the world, explain that. Talk about what would have happened if this product was live, and back then, for instance, with BaggerBot on Start Engine, they mentioned that if we had this product when, Hurricane Katrina happened, it would have saved and helped absorb all that water, or majority of that water, when it came to damaging the houses.
Mhm. And when you're passionate, that energy can resonate with the other side.
Yep.
So if these are dry portal updates, if the update itself packs its own punch, such as the publisher,
Mhm.
the article posting that we did before, it could be sufficient. I still look to see that founder personality.
Yep.
And that can make a boring industry exciting.
Mhm.
That can make a group in an exciting industry seem more primed for success than one of their competitors. So you really want that to resonate and get these audiences excited about joining the team. Set that narrative, set that perspective. They'll actually repeat the words and in the way that you present them to people that they know.
Exactly. And to add on to that real quick, like we mentioned in the past, it makes it like it adds personality to the campaign. And say that you create a portal update with a selfie video, that video is going to be easier to share than a piece of text, because it shows the founder explaining, his passion for the company, and thanking, the investors for getting them to that 100K milestone, to that 200, 300, or even thanking them to, if it wasn't for this campaign, we wouldn't have gotten this product developed, or we wouldn't have been able to get the patent that we wanted to. So just thanking investors through a selfie video or just making it personal will go a long way.
We've seen it as some of the top performing advertising creative. Again, advertising gives us a lot of analytics to work off of, as well as the portal updates that show the biggest lift in the 24 hours to follow. Now, there is an element of compliance around this, and we recommend using your portal partner. If you're not on a portal partner, your legal partner, to look at your campaign calendar, where it's going, and ensure that what you're saying follows the rules. So we are not legal experts. Nothing in here really constitutes legal advice. The same way we wouldn't want a lawyer telling you the best way to run an advertising campaign. And some of the groups we work with, we joke around about that. But the idea is you want to make sure your portal update's compliant. Reach out to the portal about their requirements. They will be talking about tombstone and non-term communications. This lives on your page. So there will be various types of approval processes depending on who you're working with, but you want to make sure you're above water on everything. No forward-looking statements, as much as recapping what's occurred over the past week and why that momentum is meaningful.
Yeah, and I can't stress enough, get the content checked by compliance. You want to make sure everything that you're putting out there is compliant. Like Jason said, we're not compliant officers. We're going to be creating the content for you, but it is also your due diligence to send that piece of the content that we are creating to the portal that you're working with, or an attorney, to make sure it's compliant and we're able to post it.
And just to recap here, as we get down to the last minute of our webinar, portal updates are a key component of your communication with investors. Post portal updates weekly. Updates are not just about talking about milestones, but more about keeping these new investors informed and engaged in a path to get them to convert. Khalil, anything to add as final notes to leave the audience with here today?
Post portal updates. No, like we mentioned, there's always something to talk about. I know it can be difficult because portal updates, when you hear that word, you think it's just, oh, it has to be a big announcement, it has to be a major announcement. It doesn't have to be. Anything from, like we mentioned, a new team hire, highlighting the team, to an award or your 100K milestone. Those are all great portal updates to publish, and we've seen them go a long way. And we've seen investors reference portal updates and told us this is why we invested, because we saw this portal update, we saw that this founder it highlighted the success of the company. We saw that personality, like we mentioned, and that resonated with us, and that's what pushed the needle for us.
And if you have any other questions, please reach out. Khalil is on LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn. Our website, you could submit messages, which will be directed accordingly. We feel an accountability to share the insights that we see on our campaigns, and love talking marketing.
Yeah.
So happy to set up a call, give you our recommendations, thoughts. We want to see a higher success rate industry wide, and welcome this at any time. I want to thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Jason, for having me. I think this was a great topic to discuss. I know that we've had a couple of people, they're worried about their portal updates and they wanted some tips. So I'm glad we had this webinar today to highlight that. And as Jason mentioned earlier, this webinar was recorded. So we will be posting a recap. We will be having a replay around this webinar. So be on the lookout for that in the coming days.
Absolutely. Thanks to Khalil here. Everything came out very strong, content rich here. Hope everyone was taking notes. Otherwise, send this to your team to get a few things out there and implement it. And we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.